Hey guys, welcome to Seer Generation. I am your host, Manny Nunez. Our conversation today is with Chris Morris. Chris is a artist that I found on Instagram. I follow him. I've seen a lot of his paintings. They're super interesting, super cool, and I just reached out to him to have a conversation regarding his process. And we got into a lot of great conversations regarding finding your passion, regarding treating your art not just as art, but also as a business if you end up wanting to use your art as a means to sustain yourself. We talked about what his process looks like and how he's planning to this year, hopefully, be able to turn some profits from his work. It was an awesome conversation. I think that you guys are going to learn a lot, especially if you're into art or you eventually want to make money with your art as well. But just in general, I think it was a great conversation when it comes to following your passions and deciding what really would work for you long term. And we do answer that. Well, we don't answer the question, but we definitely do talk about the question, should you do what you love as a means to sustain yourself? And yeah, it was a fun conversation and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So let's get to it. Hey Christian, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, man, I've been a fan of yours for a bit now on Instagram. So this is the first time that I'm actually seeing you face to face.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you reaching out. Always good to network and meet some new people.
You know what's I hadn't looked at the entire description, but you have like another Instagram page that shows your face. Like you have one page that's just art, and then the other one kind of like the human side, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, actually, the reason for that is my original passion is music, and so I'm also a rapper and music producer. That's kind of was my main thing, but the artistry kind of has taken over recently in the painting and stuff, and so I was like, I kind of wanted to separate the two a little bit. One is no ego at all, no pride, no nothing. That's my art pure. And then the other side is my rapper side where I'm kind of like, yeah, what's up? That's me.
How come the art and painting stuff has taken over for you recently anyway?
Well, that kind of, entails a lot of few things going in there. The whole painting thing is really new to me in a way. I've actually only been painting for about a year. And
really?
it seems to be the thing that caught on the fastest. So I've actually done a lot of different creative endeavors. This is just the most recent one, and it seems to be picking up way quicker than the others ever did. And so that's why I'm kind of like fully diving into it right lately the last few months and just putting all my focus on it just because it seems to be bearing fruit. So I'm like, hey, let me go water those plants a little more, So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment is just kind of putting some blinders on and focusing in on one thing for the moment just to see, what happens if I really put it all into this one thing, and see where it can take me from there. So
yeah, kind of like lean into what you're seeing that people are getting attracted to.
Exactly. Yeah. Kind of listening to the people and being like, oh, well, my music gets a little bit of love, but my art gets a lot of love. So I'm like, let's do that a little more, and see what happens if I do that.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I struggle with that too in a way. So for me, I have that Manny's World channel where I just post like my art stuff, and that's I've done that for years. It's never really picked up anything. But the Seer Generation side is more like I like art, and I'm also into business a lot. It's kind of weird, right? But,
yeah, no, I get you.
Right. And I enjoy both. So I always struggle in my mind, like, do I want to focus more on the art? Do I want to do more of the business? I like both. I don't know. It's always like this internal battle with me, almost like, am I selling out one for the other? It's very weird. Do you ever feel that way?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I have a problem, I feel like, because I pull myself in too many directions, I feel like, because if I'm not trying to, tell you my whole life story real quick, but I've music is my main thing, but I also rap and produce. I also do videography and photography. I have LLCs in both of those as well. And then also the painting as well. And then I also work a full-time job on the side as well as that. So half the time I'm like, hey, do I want to go the corporate life? And I could easily work my way up there the ladder, or I could go the video route and make commercials and be behind the scenes, or I could be the front man rapping, or, and I have these in my mind every day. It's like, I want to do 5-10 different things, but it's like, you only have so many hours. So it's like, what's going to be the most productive? But also, like, I don't know, for me recently has been like, what do you really enjoy more than anything, rather than just always trying to get an outcome out of something, rather than, are you enjoying yourself, is kind of a question I started asking myself lately. And, it's been a kind of an interesting struggle or decision to make there, but I feel like I'm falling into this good balance now, or maybe it's just because I'm finally getting a little bit of reciprocation from some of my work and artistry stuff, that it seems more valuable to invest more time into painting and stuff. But that's always been a problem of mine growing up. I mean, I was a sports guy growing up too, so getting pulled, do I want to do sports, or do I want to be science guy, or do I want to do artistry, so I definitely feel that trying to decide, what am I going to do with this 24 hours, type of a thing. But yeah, it is a struggle for sure.
Does your work relate to some of the stuff you do with art or not?
Well, actually recently, yes, because I didn't have a job for quite a while because I was doing videography and photography, and that was going very well for me. But then just some COVID and things and just stuff like that, I ended up having to pick up a normal job again there. And I'm a paint department supervisor at Lowe's now. And so it somewhat correlates to what I'm doing, painting houses, and is a little different than painting paintings, but it, it relates a little bit, and it's not the worst job in the world. And I see potential in it, it's got a good future if I were to stick in it and whatnot. So it's like, okay, I could do this. But, is this, fulfilling me? Is this gonna, make me happy 20 years from now? I don't know. That paycheck maybe, but, I don't know if it's actually what I would like to focus on, 40, 50 hours a week. But for now, it's all right until I start picking up a little bit more in the artistry again. But, peaks and valleys with all this stuff. If anybody who's an entrepreneur or creative, they know there's times where you have a million clients and you're killing it. And then there's times where it seems like, what am I even doing? Is this even a career? So, but yeah, right now, just, working full-time during the day, paint department supervisor, at night, paint artist here doing that stuff.
How long does one of those paintings take you to do? I'm sure it varies, but what's
no, it definitely varies, but generally about 2 to 3 days, I would say. And that's a solid 5-6 hours in that day working on them. It just depends on the intricacy of each one, or how well I'm really trying to push on it. But generally about 2 days. Yeah, it's a full weekend of work there, to get one done. So not the worst, but it does take some time. It does take a little bit of time. Yeah.
And never mind the planning for it and figuring out.
Yes, also that, yes. Yeah, just figuring out what you want to do is kind of the toughest part. What am I going to invest my weekend into, or these next 3 days, definitely a problem in itself. But most of the time, I see a picture of something and I'm just instantly oh, yep, that's what I'm drawing right there, and then I know and I go and do that. But sometimes it takes a couple different tries before I'm oh, yep, that's the one that I want to invest the time into.
So you're doing roughs before you actually commit to something, or is it a one go and you just?
Well, I mean, I have a sketchbook, so I do some sketches of just rough ideas and just characters. It's all based on my favorite characters. That's really what I focus on from movies. I'm a huge movie buff and, TV show nerd and all that stuff. So it's really just I don't know what I was feeling at the moment. What TV show did I just watch, or who's popular right now, kind of a deal. But I also do a lot of commissions. So half the time it's someone asked for it. So I'm okay, might as well do it. I have no other ideas at the moment. I'll do that one for, whatever they want.
Right.
But yeah, it's just varies,
How does the commission stuff work? I ask because, I've, when it comes to art, I've always been very hesitant to do it for other people, because I just art for me is such a getaway from everything else. At the minute and I've done a few commission things for other people in the past, whiteboard videos and things like that. Yeah. And man, it just, for me anyways, it just takes the fun out of it, because now I'm not just dealing with myself, I'm also dealing with what this client wants. Hey, how about we do this? And now they're saying, no, I don't want that. I want this. And it's just like, for me anyways, and I don't judge anybody that does commission, things like that by any means. But for me, it just always like just seemed like such a drag. I don't know.
No, that's funny you say that, because I'm exactly the same way. As soon as somebody like tells me to do something, I no longer want to do it. And I don't know why. That's a terrible mentality. I know that. But for some reason in my mind, like the whole, exactly like you said, the artistry is to get away from everything. And when you have somebody like creeping in on your space or your process and stuff, it does affect. And actually only until recently, really like the last 2 or 3 months, had I started actually taking commissions, like from different people. I used to, like 6 months ago, if a close friend was like, hey, could you really do me like a Rick and Morty painting? Then I'd be like, okay, I like Rick and Morty and you're a homie. So yeah, sure, I'll do a Rick and Morty. Seems worth it. But it wasn't until about 2 or 3 months ago that I really was like, all right, world, whoever wants a painting, if you hit me up first and it's, something I'm interested in, sure, I'll make it for you. But that's kind of the thing, is I have to also be interested in it. So it's like, I get a lot of people that ask me for stuff and whatnot, but it's just like, if I don't know the character or if I'm not real inspired by it, it's like, this product, am I going to put my best into it? Probably not. And then it's going to be lacking. And then they're going to I just feel like I'm not going to do as good of a job for them because I'm not as inspired to do it. And then it's like, I don't want to put out half-assed work. You know what I mean? I don't want to put out something that I'm not fully invested in. But at the same time, I don't want to have to work a job anymore. So it's like, you want to be a professional artist, you got to be a professional artist. You know what I mean? You got to have the people want what they want. So that's a tough battle that I'm always struggling with, is like, I'm like, just buy a painting I already made, but it's like, okay, sure. I'll, if it's a cool idea, and the person seems pretty cool, I'm like, okay, sure. I'll do it for you. You know what I mean? I'll take the time. It's going to be probably a month, but I'll do it. I'll do it for you. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, the commission route is so tough. The only reason I even really opened up to commissions was just because I used to be a beat producer, I still am a beat producer. And that was something I enjoyed, giving something to someone that they actually use and can benefit from. Same with my photography. I like the fact of like, I get to give something to someone and they're, enjoying it or benefiting from it in some way, some form. And so that to me was the one eye opener that I was like, okay, you can't just look at it as I'm making money or I'm doing something I don't want to do. You're doing something for someone, with your artistry, which in the end game is what I want, to just make people happy and, entertain them for a little bit. So it's like, hey, if you want to pay me too, all right, I guess I could suck it up and do your painting for you, but don't get me wrong. I have a list of commissions, but I have my own ideas. And 90% of the time, my own ideas come first, but hey, at the same time, I also would like to, quit my job here sooner rather than later. So we're trying to find that balance, That
would be like the dream setup, right? Where you're just making stuff that you like and people are buying that,
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. And all my favorite artists, that seems to be the route that they go, is they figure out a way to like turn their paintings into more than just a painting, like stickers, or put it on t-shirts or posters and things like that. And so that's my next step of taking this to the business level. Like right now, I'm still very just like doing it for fun kind of a deal. And I just make a few bucks here and there every now and then. But my real goal for 2021 is to really take it to the business level of where I can be more efficient, I guess, because, like I said, it takes 2 or 3 days to make a painting. Someone buys it for, $150, $200. It's like, yeah, I made like, $100 a day, but that's still not really that much money when you really think about it. Not enough to really live off of. So I'm like, dang, I have to figure out a way to be more efficient or get more value out of the paintings. And so that's something that I'm working on also, is like trying to figure out, okay, how do you do that? Like I said, posters, t-shirts, just different, sell your images. I have one guy trying to buy some images because he's putting together like a wallpaper kit for Microsoft or something like that. And I'm like, okay, sure, you could license my photos and my paintings for that. So, just finding different avenues and different ways to make it more lucrative, I guess, there, without selling out, I guess. You know what I mean? Just fully commissions all the time, so it's getting there. But like I said, still kind of new to it, but I've ran a couple of businesses already before. So I'm kind of in that lane of marketing and, profit margins and figuring all that stuff out. Working it out.
Yeah, so the licensing would be like they'd give you some royalties whenever they use your paintings, or
Exactly. Yeah. Like I would do a digital photo for them and they would get to put it on whatever they wanted. Like this guy, I think he was trying to do a bunch of hoodies and hats was what he was saying. And he was like, I want your characters as well as stickers. So I was like, okay, I feel like I should be selling them myself. But, until I set up my own shop, sure, dude, I'll license you a fit photo and then you give me a percentage of the royalties on what my product sells. Sounds fair to me. You know what I mean? And that's a way to get that passive income coming in. And now this painting is worth more than just a sticker price. It's creating a more
residual.
Exactly, residual. There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. It's an asset,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing right now, trying to turn it into an asset.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that artists struggle with the most. And I have a few friends that they've gone to school for art, and they're all they're all working more like, I don't want to say quote unquote regular jobs, but they're not necessarily like doing stuff for their art just because they haven't figured out a way to make money with their art.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's extremely difficult because, like I said, I've gone down several different creative paths of videography, photography, music, and all that stuff. And photography and videography is the most direct because in the social media age, everybody wants videos, everybody wants pictures. Like that's kind of a very utility type of creative endeavor. And, it's also kind of fun, but it's very expensive, very big. You got a lot of moving pieces, a lot of different people. So there's a lot of expenses in that. And it's really like, it's, I guess the toughest part was kind of that, what you were talking about, the whole doing it because you enjoy it. When does it start turning into a job type of a deal? And that's when, it's like, okay, why am I even doing this if I'm not enjoying the products that I'm making? But, that paycheck is kind of nice though. It's like, geez. So I've definitely made some very boring, plain videos, some plain boring music, some plain boring paintings for just some, regular old stuff for a paycheck and things. And it's like, okay, I guess this is the business part of the artistry. And that took me forever to figure out, was that like, it's not about just being a talented artist. You have to also be a talented entrepreneur. And that's what I think most artists lack, that kind of understanding, is that your product can be great, but if you don't know how to sell your product, it's not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything with it. So that's been my toughest struggle. And that's why I said, this next year I was like, okay, people actually like these paintings. Maybe I could do something with it. So let's try to figure out a way to create a business about this where I'm not feeling like I'm kind of, selling out, if you will, just doing, straight basic stuff. But yeah, no, it is a tough thing that all my artist friends too, they all run into the same problem of just like, I want to make art, but I also don't want to just do what they want me to do. And I also, everyone, you just want that perfect life of, I get to make whatever I want and everyone loves it, and it's like, no, that's not how it works. You got to do what the people want. That's who you're selling it to, so it's not just about you. Just hopefully what you like is also what they like, is the thing there. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing, but I feel like I'm navigating the waters a little decently, or fairly decently. It only seems to be going up right now, which is great, so I'm hoping to keep that momentum going. But at the same time, it is, there is that struggle still, just like, I kind of just want to do nothing today or just mess around today. But it's like, no, you got a commission to do. Just do the commission, it's like a battle. It's a battle, but, figuring it out. It's just something you got to kind of suck it up, I guess, not to be mean to them, but it's just like, hey, you wanted to be a professional artist. That's what a professional artist does, that's what they do. They draw things for people, or whatever.
I think you also get there, right? I think that you also got to go through that grind before you get to a point where, I don't know, maybe you have enough recognition where now people are just hiring you to do what you want to do.
That's very true. Actually, that's, I guess, is the ultimate goal, is proving yourself enough to the point where people no longer putting their input on you. They just say, I like your style, make it that way, and I'm like, I think I'm getting there, because that's what most people are saying nowadays, is just like, I like your style, maybe just do this character or whatever. And I'm like, okay, sure. But yeah, no, I guess that is it, just proving yourself. And that's, you got to do those kind of, the jobs you don't want to do to prove that you can work with people, that prove that you can put a product out that a company wants or that a client wants. And then after a while, people begin to trust your judgment, and then they'll leave you alone and let you do what you want, I guess. Right. But, it's a constant battle, I swear. I swear you never actually get to just do whatever you want, what I mean? But, unless you're literally, Pablo Picasso or somebody that's just like super famous for making art, but But yeah, for the most part, you kind of got to people please a little bit, you know, as much as I hate to say it, you know, it's not selling out. It's just taking some input and doing what other people like, I guess. But I do feel the struggle. I do feel that all the time for sure.
Have you ever ran into this YouTube channel called Let's Draw with BJ Dell?
I swear that sounds super familiar. I watch a ton of art videos, so I'm sure I've seen one eventually. That sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you right off the top there.
Yeah, like his whole channel is just geared towards making money with your art. And his whole thing is that if you don't want to get into a position where you only make money off of that one art once. So he's into like, you know, using your art and somehow figuring out how to put that in books, how you were saying stickers, shirts, etc. And then just having that be like a residual type of income for you versus just like that one-time hit that you got to work at it every single time again and again.
Right. Yeah, one of the big things I think, again, is going back to that like balance struggle is that you got to be creative in the business world as well. You know what I mean? You can't just be a creative artist, invest all your time into drawing and your shading and all that stuff, your craft. You also got to invest almost equivalent amount of time into the business side of it, into, like you said, expanding it, turning it into an asset rather than just a one-time thing. And so, yeah, that's something that, like I said, again, recently I've been kind of sitting down and it's like, it takes time. It takes a little effort, some research and things, and it's numbers and it's, you know, things you don't really want to focus on. But it is, hey, like I said, if you want to make money off this thing, you know, like people aren't just going to give you money for no reason. Like, you know, you got to have, like I said, you got to have that business side, a little savvy, you know. So, you know, it is, like I said, it's that balance, man. And every artist or creative endeavor I've had has had the same exact struggle, you know. It's just, I want to do what I want, but I also don't want to have to work anymore. So you know, what can I do to get there? And like I said, I would much rather have to do a painting or two that I don't want to do a week rather than go to a 9-to-5 job, you know, 5 days a week. So, you know, that's why I'm trying to ease into it here, you know, and hopefully learn to train my mind to be okay with doing other people's work, you know, being okay with it. It's a good thing, you know, it's a good thing someone's paying you to do stuff, you know, but again, I'm just kind of selfish and egotistical, you know. No, I know what I want. I know what's cool, you know.
I know what you need, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. I know what you need. Yeah, you don't know what you need. I do. No, but yes, exactly, though. But yeah, like you were saying, getting there to proving yourself, eventually people are going to trust you. Eventually someone's just going to be like, hey, do whatever you want. I'm going to pay you, you know, that big money now, you know, to do it. But yeah. So
how do you get into art? Like, were you like an artistic kid growing up? Did that come later on? Like,
So I was an artistic kid very much, but I didn't know it because I was also a sports guy. And my family is a bunch of sports.
Well, that's weird.
Like, yeah, they're huge athletes. Yeah, like, and I was football and track, and actually I played college football and everything too. And that was my whole focus from like 9-10 years old all the way up until I was 20. And so I never really like thought about artistry. I was just always into it. Like I took, you know, as my electives, you know, poetry and things like that. And I took an art class once, and, you know, and I took video classes on the side though. And it was always like, I knew I liked it, but I was good at sports. So everyone was like, you're the sports guy, do sports, you know, that's your thing. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. And I thought that was cool until I had a bunch of knee injuries and head trauma and things of that nature. And I realized I was like, I'm putting all this effort into this sport, this game, and it's literally destroying my body and my mind. And which are my two favorite things, you know, and I'm just wrecking them. And I'm like, and I had 3 knee surgeries, you know, not to mention 4 concussions, and then like, not to mention all the other.
What type of surgeries for your knees?
I had ACL twice, and then I had a meniscus. And so the ACL was the worst by far, the most important thing. Yeah, that was terrible. The meniscus wasn't too bad, but that's only because I had torn my ACL already. So it wasn't as bad as that, but yeah. So that kind of ruined the whole, you know, NFL dreams and all that good stuff. But
I've had surgery on both my knees for for meniscus. On actually both, and both playing basketball. And then after that, I'm like, all right, I'm just not gonna play.
Exactly. It gets to a point where you're just like, I kind of want to be able to still run around when I'm like 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do your knees ever feel weird?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like there's certain positions that I can't really put my legs in, just because it kind of pops a little
Yep,
bit.
exactly. Yeah, you know what it's like. Yeah, no, it locks up a little bit sometimes. In the winter when it gets cold, it feels like rusty or something in there. I don't know. That's the
Yeah.
only way I can describe it, is it feels rusty. And I'm just like, oh, this is so good. I'm 26 years old and have like arthritis already. Great. Great.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is, Hey, I had fun. I enjoyed sports. It was great. I got a lot of accomplishments out of it, learned some lessons, but I also learned that like your body and your mind are very important. Don't break those things,
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, let's do something that's less intense there. And that's
Do you
where
think
the
you would have
artistry's
kept
coming.
going
What was
if
that
you
there?
hadn't had those? Do you think you would have kept going if you didn't have those injuries? The
I
sports route?
mean, I would have gone as far as I could have, that's for sure. Once I got to college, like I never really had aspirations of like the NFL and stuff like that. I just like, I was a 2-time undefeated state champion in football and a 2-time state champion in track. And so I kind of had like that weight on your shoulders of like, you're obviously really good. You should be doing this. Like, this is your thing. This is your life. But once I got to college and had my surgeries and things like that, it was just, I realized that like the things I do in my free time wasn't sports related. Like I wasn't playing NCAA video games. I played Guitar Hero. I wasn't like watching NFL stuff. I was watching movies and the behind the scenes stuff, and that's when I really was sitting there like thinking, once I was kind of debating whether to quit sports or not, I was like, I actually really enjoy artistry a lot more than sports, which was a crazy thing. I'd never really noticed that about myself, but I was like, when I have no one else telling me what to do, I do art. I don't do sports, so that's why I was like, it really wasn't a tough decision once I realized that. And then also the surgeries helped a little bit too. But yeah, but definitely there was a big moment of time, or like almost a solid like 2 or 3 years, where I was like really lost in a way, because I was a sports guy and now I'm no sports. So who are you? What are you doing? You go to school, I guess. I don't know. I was trying to figure all that out too. But once I started doing music and things and doing videos and stuff, it really was like, I was like, okay, something creative. I don't know what, but something creative. And then it wasn't really until the artistry and the painting that it just started picking up, and I started making money and started doing that. I guess videos, I made some good money doing that too. I wasn't really working or nothing, but this was really the one that was getting like a lot of love in general from everybody everywhere. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see what this does. You know what I mean?
Right.
But again, yeah, transitioning, you just got to try things, like my biggest thing with stuff is like, just like as simple as it sounds, you got to go do it, And so with painting, like literally a year ago, maybe a little longer than that, I just happened to be on YouTube, and there was some paint video I watched, and it was, cool. But when I watched it, I was like, I feel like I could do this, because watching the guy do the steps and the way he painted it, and it was just simple splatter art type stuff. But I was like, I feel like I could do this too. And so I just went to the store, bought the things I saw the guy had on the video, and then I just watched the video again and copied him exactly. And my painting turned out kind of like his, not nearly as good, don't get me wrong, but I just saw the fundamentals there that I was like, oh, it makes sense to me. I just intuitively, it kind of made sense. So I was just like, maybe I should try doing this. And I just kept doing it. And I'm very obsessive. I have an obsessive personality. So when I like something, I do it every single day. And so I just painted every single day for like 4 or 5 months straight. And like, I was even calling sick out of work and stuff, because I was like, I just want to paint. Like, I just need to do this. And my skills, I just saw them increasing almost every single time. So it was just like, I don't know. It just got to a point where I was just like, yep, this is a thing I'm good at. It's improving. I can feel the improvement. I can feel the progression. This is going to lead me somewhere. And I don't know. I think that's a valuable lesson that sports taught me, was that it takes like a year to see a change in your performance, to see like a visible change in your performance. You can work out and stuff and see you go up by 5-10 pounds or whatever, but it's not until you look back a year later that you see, oh, I got abs now, or I got my biceps are that much bigger or whatever, or just my 40s a little bit faster, So that's one valuable lesson sports taught me, was grind every day on something and wait 6 months to a year, then look back. Then you can kind of start to evaluate yourself rather than doing it once or twice and being like, oh, I suck at this thing. You know, it's like, of course you do. You just started. You're not going to be good at it. Like, you know, that's not how it works, you know? So yeah, that was the thing that I just said, I'm going to give painting a year and see what happens. And now a year later, it's like, oh, wow, this is okay. Sure. Let's keep doing this. You know, let's keep doing this. But that time thing is what gets most people, I swear. Is, you know, it's easy to do something once. It's even, you know, easy to do something twice, but to do it day in, day out, even if you don't really want to, you know, type of a deal, that's the tough part right there, you know, staying consistent, I guess.
That's right. Well, your parents, you mentioned that your family was very big or is very big in sports. Were your parents supportive of your newfound passion, or were they like,
more or less.
What do you do?
My mom, she's a hairstylist, so she's creative. That's definitely where I get my creativity from. She was like, hey, as long as you're happy and you're doing something, great, fantastic, whatever. And you know, she knew my injuries and stuff. She doesn't, my baby's getting injured, you know, she doesn't want that anymore. And so she was pretty much okay with it. My dad, on the other hand, not so much, you know, he was like, you put so much time and effort into this, you know, don't quit now, at least, you know, graduate and everything and finish out your 4 years and all that stuff and whatnot. And with sports, and, you know, and maybe you still could go to the next level or whatever. And, you know, if you work hard enough. And I was just like, yeah, but I feel like I like this art stuff more, so I just would go fully head first into that. And for a couple of years, it was a little bit tough, you know, definitely feeling like you let people down, I guess, in a way, because just you were the guy, you know, you're the guy that's supposed to do big things in sports or whatever that was. And it just, after a while though, people eventually started to change their perspective of me. You know, it took a long time, many years of being like, no, I'm an artist. I'm not an athlete anymore. I'm an artist now. But it took a while, but people are starting to see it now. And now that they're seeing a little bit of results and things too, people are cool. And my parents and stuff are awesome. They've always supported me for sure. They just were always like, you know, are you making the right decision? You know, when you tell them you want to be a rapper, you know, and they're just like, oh, okay. I mean, let me hear it, you know, but don't get me wrong though. Like, they like my songs and stuff too. And they love my paintings. They got ones hanging in their house now. So it's working out. They're fine. They're cool with it now, you know, but at first it was a little rough.
That must have been tough, kind of sticking through like what you want to do, you know, to an extent, even though people are questioning. Like, for example, it's like my dad till today, and it's not in a malicious way. My dad is 70, by the way, so he's like super old. He had me like really late in life. So I watch anime, like I watch cartoons because like I like the art of it. To be honest, I feel like people tend to be more creative when they can animate versus having like real people doing things. I just like, I've always been like, even for games, like I don't care if the game looks realistic or not. Like, that's not why I would play a game. I would play a game to like look at something other than life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. I feel you, dog. I feel you, son, bro. No, I 100% agree.
But my dad still till today, he'll like if I'm at his house or he's over here and I put on like some animation or something, he'll be like he'll turn to my mom like jokingly like, look at your son all grown with a wife and kid and he's still looking at cartoons, and I'm just
I know, right? Yeah, no, my dad's the same way too. Yeah, no, he's in the same lane. But like I said though, I mean, he gets it now though. He sees my stuff, and again, they were just more of like, as long as you're doing something, you know, and you're dedicated to it. That was their thing, you know. I don't want you to be a rapper and you're just hanging out with your friends all day, you know. That's what you're doing. And it's like, no, I'm serious about it. I do shows, I do my beats, I make things, I sell stuff, you know. I do what I need to do. I practice, you know, so, you know, I'm trying, but yeah, no, like, again, it just took a while, but he sees it now. But he is the same way when I, you know, I'm posting my paintings and stuff. He's like, they're just cartoon characters. And I'm like, yeah, it's dope. Like, what do you want me to do? Do like a freaking, like a Renaissance painting of, you know, the Sistine Chapel or something? Like, is that what I have to do? Like, does it have to be realistic? That's his thing too. He's like, it's not as realistic. And I'm like, it's abstract. Like I don't know. I do what I like to see. You know, I don't want to do realistic. You have a camera for that, you know, but,
exactly.
But yeah, so he's kind of in that same lane of like, it's cartoons type of a thing. But hey, again, he likes it though. He has one, so it's all good.
The cool thing about today, like in today's day and age, is just like, it's so much easier to be able to earn a living doing something creative versus 10, 15 years ago. Like that's the beauty about living today, is that if you want to I wrote a book for my kid when he was born, and I published it on Amazon. I mean, it made like a few hundred sales, but I mainly did it for my kid. But like, that's the thing. Like, you couldn't say that freaking 15 years ago. Oh, I'm just gonna write a book and I'm gonna publish it. Like, yeah,
right, exactly. Huge respect to you for that too, because that's something I'm trying to do as well. But that's a whole nother thing. But much of a call though. But yeah, definitely. The means to make it happen nowadays are, like I said, it's really just on you. Like, you just got to do it and pursue it. And that's the beauty too. That's something else, obviously the parents don't really get either, is that they're like, how are you going to turn this into something? And it's like, well, have you not been on the internet? Like, this is all the internet is this stuff, and granted, I turned myself from just doing pictures of my paintings to doing like videos of my paintings, and that really was what took it to the next level. I guess just the entertainment factor, or just the accessibility. People like seeing the videos, more than just the picture of something. So that was the big thing there, and it's a whole nother hassle making the video, but it's worth it to me, and I like videography.
Does it add on to the 6 hours, or are you counting the 6 hours in?
Actually, no, that adds at least another 2 or 3 hours onto it. So yeah, so that's definitely its own thing. I'm definitely going through all the footage, because I take all the footage of like the 10 hours it took me to make the painting, in which I have 2 cameras, sometimes 3. So that's actually 30 hours of footage that I'm going through and cutting it all together. I know, right? It's kind of ridiculous, but really I'm just, you just hit the highlights. So I'm not like I'm sitting there meticulously watching all 10 hours of it, but it's just like, it is a thing though, that you have to go through it. And it does take a few hours, and you also have to like know what you're doing. I'm sure you edit videos and things, it's not, no one can just walk up and edit a video. Like, you gotta have to know something. But it's not too bad. But yeah.
It's very time consuming.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like anything. I feel like even when you're trying to sell your art, or when somebody asks you to, hey, can you draw me something? I've turned so many people away because they're like, oh, hey, can you draw this for me? I don't know, can you pay me $150 for what you want me to draw? And they're like, oh, that's a lot of money. I'm like, exactly. Yeah, well, I'm going to be probably sitting there for 4 hours, and an hour and a half of that is me trying to figure out how to do what you want me to do. So It's kind of interesting that people don't really quite understand the amount of time and effort that it takes to draw something or to do something creative like that. Right. Unless you're like, there's some guys out there that will, I mean, these are people that must have been doing what they're doing for 20 plus years, that they can just sit down and then and I envy those people. In like 30 minutes, they'll just have like this crazy awesome painting, but like, that's not me.
That's funny, touching on that subject. Yeah, getting into the artistry in any creative endeavor, the prodigies, the 1%er is what I like to call it. And that's the phenoms. That's the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James, the Justin Biebers, the kids, the young people that just are insanely good at what they do. That's all anyone ever really sees. Like, especially in like America, we have this obsession with like 1% prodigies that like, they're just naturally gifted. And when they were 13 years old, they were already professionals at whatever they were doing, Tiger Woods or whoever, you know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, that's great. But do you not understand the other 99% of professional artists, they worked and didn't really even get a career, probably till their mid 30s to, 40s. That's when most actors, artists, anybody, entrepreneurs really start seeing success, is around then. And so that's something you have to keep in your mind, is like, you're still early in this game. Even when I was 23, I was like, God, I'm 23. I'm so old to be a rapper, because everyone's 16 now. And it's like, no, that's the 1% that you're seeing. Of course, everyone's going to know them, because that's crazy that they're a child that's this good at something, you know what I mean? Right. And so everyone expects you to be like that raw at something immediately, or when you're young. It's like, no, that's the 1%ers. The other 99% of the people making a living in this artistry, they worked on it for 10 plus years, and then they have a career, and so that's something that you have to kind of just explain to people, or just not even explain to them, but just like, yeah, like you said, it takes me hours to make this thing, and you want to pay me $20, like, and it's going to take me 2 days to do this. Like, I have people all the time on my paintings want to buy them. They're like, how much is it? And I tell them, 100 plus sometimes. And they're like, oh, I got like 30, like, could we work a deal out? And I'm like, $30 for 3 days? Like, do you understand? That's slave labor right there. Like, geez, it's like, geez, if I liked you, I knew you, maybe I'd say yes, but yeah, no, sorry. I got to charge what I got to eat, it's got to be worth it, so Not to mention, just the canvas alone costs $15, like, so
Right.
covering my price of materials. Oh, geez. But yeah, no, that's something that's rough there too. But the people that like what you like, they're willing to pay. That's the thing. When you meet someone that likes what you're doing, they're willing to give you the money for it. And so it's a lot rarer, but they do come through. And I guess just the more you stick at it, the bigger your audience gets, the more people that are willing to pay you what you're worth. And that's kind of the thing, is just building your audience, getting in front of more eyes. That's the tough thing too. Any creative endeavor, marketing's the number one thing. Any business anywhere, you got to market, and that's something most people don't want to do either. They're like, oh, I'm selling myself. I don't want to sell myself. I don't want to pay for advertising and stuff like that. And it's like, bro, like, how do you think, anybody becomes famous? What's the point of like signing to a record label or signing to an art gallery? Or, it's because they're going to promote you. It's not they're helping you with anything. They just put you in front of people, so that's another big thing that I feel like also most creatives or just people don't think about, is like, if no one sees your work, how are you supposed to become famous? You know what I mean? You think posting on your page with 100 followers that you're going to go viral? No, that's not how that works. Sorry, it's not. It doesn't go like that. But
do you do advertising?
Yeah, so what was that there?
Do you do advertising?
I sometimes, I'll run I have a business profile, not a ton on my artistry. It was more on my photography stuff, because I was actually trying to like build a business with that for a minute there. But on some of my paintings, like if I really do a big one and I'm like, I want a lot of people to see this, I'll throw an Instagram ad on it or something like that. And almost always the ones I sponsor end up selling. So that sell pays for the ad, so it's like, oh, that was worth it. You know what I mean? So you're making your money back almost instantly. So to me, it's well worth it there. And also it's just, a great tool to use, if you have the budget for it. I don't always have the budget for it. So sometimes it's like, I'm just going to hope this one gets out there, hits the algorithm. But not so much, not usually.
Do you do like for payment? How do you, I've always been interesting how people handle, like people that do commissions, how they handle like the payments, making sure that you're not getting like stiffed. Like, do you take the money first? Do you send it? Like, how does all that work?
Yeah, well, for my paintings, I would generally, like they'll send me the idea and we'll talk about pricing, because I'll just be like, oh, what they want, how long do I think it'll take me? I judge the price off of that. Also, like how big they want it, that kind of stuff, things like that, just how long it's going to take me. And I just give them my quote, and then we'll negotiate a little bit, meet somewhere in the middle there. And then generally I will make the painting and then have them pay me. And just because, I don't know, as a person, I just feel better about it, doing it that way. I don't know. But
you don't send it out though, right?
Yeah, or something. I don't know. But sometimes people will just send me the money right away. And then, I'm not going to lie, it makes me feel more obligated to do it. So I do it right away, rather than the person who didn't pay me, I push it off, a little bit. So there is that. But for stuff like my music and things like that, I have like a full LLC and all that, publishing rights and things like that. So it's a little different with that, because you got to go through a few more hoops if they want to do it legitimately. But I'm a human and you're a human, and like, if you have Venmo and you Venmo me the money, that's fine. I'll do that. As long as I get the cash and you get the product, that's all that matters, right? We don't need to jump through all these hoops all the time. But there are times when you do want to write up a contract and make sure you're doing things properly, especially when I was doing like videography and photography jobs for companies. Like there, you have to actually do some litigation, and make sure things are processing right, because you don't want to just cover your bases, you know what I mean, just in case anything weird happens for some reason. You want to make sure you're covered, within the on paper, that's the main thing. But for the most part, like I said, when it's person to person, and I just kind of gauge their vibe, see what they're about. And it's like, hey, just Venmo me the money, cash at me, whatever, shoot, mail me a check, whatever it is, it's just, as long as we have an agreement, because I'm not trying to rip you off. And as long as you're not trying to rip me off some weird way, steal my painting somehow. I don't know. That seems weird, but sure. People do that with music. That's why I do publishing. But painting seems to be a more honest trade, I guess, so that's a thing. But yeah, generally just, as of now, just Venmoing, cash apping, whatever, straight cash overhand if I know the person or whatever. But I am setting up an LLC right now to actually take it, like I said, take it to that next level, make it legit. And also that's how you get into the art world, is you copyright your images and things of that nature. So I am trying to take that next step. But as of now, just, working with people.
Right. Well, the minute you post it online is copywritten.
I mean, I would hope that, I heard something about
Yeah.
that, but I don't know. This day and age with things, people screenshot stuff and just take it or
Yeah.
whatnot. But that makes sense. I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, there was a whole like court case about it where like big digital companies that like sell images and stuff are looking for a way where they could like as long as the images was put online, it should be like since you're sharing it with everybody, they should be able to use it. It was this whole thing. And I mean they
Yeah,
ended up
yeah.
turning it down and they're
Interesting.
like, no, I
Public
mean,
domain and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
exactly. It's a
Yeah.
weird gray area. That's why I'm just, I'm gonna get it, cover my bases here sooner rather than later.
Now that
Especially
won't
if
stop
things.
people from trying to steal your stuff, right?
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
if you did want to take them to court, you could because it's out there. But
Oh,
it's
okay. That's good to know. Thank you.
it's so it's
But-
so it's so shameful, dude, because it's almost like, all right, you draw something, you put your time and effort and experience into this, you put it out there. To have somebody like just sit on their fat butt and just go in there, take your image and try to do something with it and not even credit you. Like that's so crazy because even you as an artist, right? You're trying to make a living, you're working in a side job, you're trying to do this. Are you really gonna try to go hire a lawyer to try to go after this guy? Like the money was not gonna be worth it at the end of the day. And that's like Disney or somebody like that steals your
Right.
stuff, right?
Yeah, no, it is. It is an interesting thing. And I've had some music discrepancies with some people here and there, but like that, it's tough because at one point it's like flattery in a way because they think you're dope enough that they want you, they can make money off your thing. So you're like, oh, cool. And they're putting it in front of more people. But then at the other end, it's like, bro, if you would have just like asked me, I probably would have given it to you. I probably would have just let you use it, but now that you're like just taking it and using it, it's like, now I feel slighted. Now I feel like there's tension here or something.
Yeah.
But, but that's what I'm trying to say is like, I'm pretty chill. I'm laid back. It's like, if you just talk to me about it, I'm more than willing to work with people, even on a painting with a budget. Like I have the price I want, but if you, give me a case or give me a reason or you're doing it for something special, I will do my best to work with you. You know what I mean? I don't want to rob people. That's one of my biggest, I don't want to say flaws, but one of my issues with the business side of things is in the capitalistic type world we live in order to profit off of something, you kind of have to take value from someone else or short someone else in a way. And it's not always, malicious or things like that, but that's just kind of the way the game works is that in order for you to gain, someone's kind of got to lose, and like you would hope you're making a fair trade with every business deal. But I don't know. I don't like trying to upsell people or try to oversell people on things, So like I said, if you're wanting to work, talk to me and we can make it work. We'll work out a budget or work something out, a deal, a fair trade, but yeah, you're just going to go in and steal it because you think you can't afford it, or you're going to go in and take it just because you think I'm a small artist or something, or whatever, just think you're going to just swoop it and no one will notice. It's like, oh, damn, that sucks. But yeah, people will be doing that and it's kind of blows my mind. But they're never artists that do it. I swear. It's always people who aren't artists that, I don't know, they don't appreciate it or don't understand the work that goes into it, because we are in kind of a market that oversaturates art. So it seems like it's an easy thing to do, but no, it's not. It's not. That's why you don't do it.
Well, the cool thing about yours is that it's physical too. It's not necessarily digital. So it's very tough. I mean, somebody can like, in a way, just take the image and post that out there, but they're not going to be able to take your actual portrait, and be able to do anything with it, which is nice.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely is. And that's actually one of my, again, another, that business side of things is all my friends and stuff who are artists are all switching to digital art because it's like the easiest to not only make a painting or make a drawing or whatever, because you can make it look like a painting in digital art and whatnot. But then they're like, oh, and you can print and do stickers and it's so much easier and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but I like getting my hands dirty. I like the physical piece of work I have right here. That's one of a kind that no one else is going to have type of a deal. So it's like, I'm at this bit of a battle of like, do I want to dive into digital, or maybe I find a balance where I do half and half somehow or something. I don't know. But yeah, but that's the other thing. Physical piece, no one can just steal that. At least I have that. You could take a screenshot of it, but I got the actual piece, or, whoever I sell it to has the actual piece. So, that is a thing that it's actually in the world somewhere. It's not just in the cloud, so there is a benefit to that. And I like it. I'm old school, maybe.
Yeah.
I like physical things. I like touching stuff.
Yeah. So speaking of your art, I did I did want to ask you because it looked like from your Instagram that at some point you were doing kind of more abstract type of
Hmm.
work, and
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
all of a sudden you
Shapes
see
and colors.
like, oh, I'm seeing like you're seeing characters that you recognize. Um,
Mhm.
when did that shift happen? What happened there?
Oh, that's funny. Yes, yeah. So when I started, like I said, I watched some random like abstract art. It was just splatters and squares and circles type stuff, and I was like, oh, I could totally do that. That seems fairly achievable. And so I started doing those things. But as I was doing that, I was learning kind of the basic fundamentals of what's called form, which is like drawing a person or a thing, an object of some sort. And I was just learning the basics of shading and line work by making squares and circles and things like that. And I just eventually got to the point where I had a friend who asked me, hey, can you do like a simple drawing of this character I like? And I was like, no, but I guess I'll try. He was just like, didn't you just try? Because he's one of my really good friends. And he was like, dude, you should just try it, just see what you can do. And so I just sat down and I watched a couple of videos on like how to draw something and how to actually like draw a person and things. And I did it. And don't get me wrong, it was terrible, but I was also like, I saw the fundamentals happening and I was like, oh, just like how I saw how the shapes worked, I see how this builds on top of that. And so there's a whole process of, I'm sure you understand a little bit of drawing things, doing the
Hmm.
form and everything like that. But I just started practicing again. I just kind of jumped into it and watched a video or two and copied what the guy did. And I was like, oh yeah, there we go. That looks like this person, kind of, sort of terrible, but it's there essentially. And so from there, I just said, all right, I'm not the best like drawer or illustrator in the world, but I can do the abstract stuff pretty well. So how do I combine the two in a way? And so I just simplified. I was like, what's the simplest things you can draw? Cartoon characters, because they're just basically just shapes compiled on top of each other to look like a person. And so I just took that and I said, I'm going to do an abstract background with this very simple line work of a character. And it just started out with just straight black, like silhouettes of characters and, just shading essentially. And then eventually it evolved into doing more of their details. And then eventually I just built my skill up to being able to do now perspective and action and dynamics and stuff like that. And now I feel like my next painting, the one I'm working on right now, is actually like supposed to look like a real person, the most realistic painting I've done. And so I'm like, oh God, I don't know. We'll see. It's turning out decently. But it was, again, just the process of like, someone was just like, just try it. And so I was like, all right, fine. You challenged me to do it. I'll try to do it. And it took the time, practiced a few times. It took practice, took a few tries, but then it kind of turned out. So I was like, all right, let's practice this now, doing characters. And that's really when I developed this style here that everyone seems to love the most. And I'm just like, well, this is my style, I guess now. This is my artistry. I took, a little bit of inspiration from one guy, a little bit of inspiration from another guy, and then my own little bit and put it together. And now I feel like I kind of have an original idea now, and that's all artistry is stealing from other people. Never think there's an original idea. No such thing. Everything is stolen from somebody else. That is for sure. They just change it just enough you don't recognize it, And so that's kind of the process of that, I guess, developing this newest style here. And I like it a lot. But even this now I've been doing for a few months and I'm starting to branch it out a little more. Like I said, get a little more realistic with it and see where else I can take it, from here. But yeah, it's a tough kind of thing though, because in music, I ran into a blockade eventually that I felt like I couldn't get past, and it was playing like actual piano. And like I can dabble through a song and stuff like that, but I didn't feel like my skills were improving. And then my rapping hit a kind of a plateau also, where I felt like I don't know, maybe ran out of things to say or something, or just, I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't getting better anymore. Where with the artistry, I feel like almost every painting I see an improvement, And so that was something else, is realizing, seeing what are you improving in and what is kind of stagnating you. And that was something tough, but that's also what made me realize, oh, I'm jumping into artistry here, because I see the improvement almost every single time. I must be doing something right, with this stuff, rather than with the music. Kind of felt like it plateaued a little bit. Don't get me wrong, pretty good, I guess, but, just felt like it wasn't getting better, and I was like, how am I supposed to go to the next level if I can't get past this plateau over here for some reason? But But who knows? Maybe I just need to practice a little more rapping. It's been a while, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, that's an interesting topic that you bring up, which is kind of like, should you do what you love as a means to make money, right? In a way. And I was watching this video on LinkedIn not too long ago where this guy was saying, doing what you love, quote, and I don't know how much I agree with that, but he's like, doing what you love as a career is he essentially said is for stupid people. But his whole point that he was getting at is that the only people that will tell you to do what you love are people that are rich and have already made it.
Right, exactly. True.
Be able to say that. But I think that more often than not, it's almost like a mix of both, right? Something that you enjoy doing and also something that other people like. Like, your example just made me think about that because, you enjoy the drawing and you also enjoy the music and the other things that you were doing. But to an extent, it's almost like, yeah, I like all these things, but the one thing that I seem to be improving on and the one thing that people seem to like is the art side. So let me lean into that. And I'm sure as you continue to see success, then you'll continue to love it more. You know what I mean? So it's
right, exactly. That's my thought. I'm hoping with that one there, but yeah, no, you kind of hit it right on the head there with that. Yeah, whatever you watch, I feel like I might've seen something along those lines. Cause I heard someone say that too. Don't do the dude I was thinking of. He said, don't do what you love, do what you're good at type of a thing. And I was like, and then you'll start to love it cause you're good at it. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense, in a way there too. But I guess one of those toughest things is finding something that you're good at too. Because again, it's that thing of people try something once and I suck at this, so I'm not going to do it. And it's like, again, of course you suck at it. You just started. It's your first time. So you got to, put in that, again, just for me, it's the 6 months, like 6 months to actually see an improvement upon something or to actually learn something. It takes about, that 6 months range. But I get it. Not everybody has 6 months to just dedicate to something or just can put their nose to the ground like that. But it's just like, unfortunately, I feel like, at least for me, that's been the way I've discovered what I'm good at, I guess, in a way, because I've done 100 different things too that I was terrible at, but that I liked, but I was just bad at it, so it was just like one of those things that, I don't know, like you said, the more I do it, I recognize the progression, and the progression was what makes me love it. And then, the fact that other people love it is what makes it seem lucrative, so that's where I'm at right now. It's just, hey, it's going good. Let's keep trucking at it, see what happens. But you got to keep putting in that effort too. Don't get complacent. That's something that's tough as well, is wanting to be like, that's something I find with my artistry sometimes is I'm like, I'm just going to, take it easy. I'm going to do an easier painting. Let's do something simpler or whatever. And don't get me wrong, it's good to enjoy yourself and just do it for fun. But I don't know. I don't feel like I'm there yet to relax. So I'm like, nope, each painting I got to kind of have to push myself a little harder. This one's a little more realistic. This one has a little more dynamic to it or something, or just something that I feel like I was failing in the last one. Oh, my perspectives were a little off in the last one. Let's make sure this picture has a crazy perspective. So I really forced myself to focus on that, and so that's something, I guess criticizing yourself in a way too is something I feel is lacking a lot, especially in like the younger generations, of being able to be like, you're not perfect. Like you like, don't get me wrong, it was cool, but you could still be better. Like even when I was winning state championships in sports, my coaches would still tell me what to improve upon, and it wasn't because I wasn't good enough. It was just that, no, you did good, but here's how you could be even better, and it's like, that's what you need. You need to be able to tell yourself that in a way, or also recognize where you're lacking and where you're not lacking. That's something that's tough as well, I find, for people, is that a lot of artists ask me, they hit me up from like, hey, could you listen to the song or check out my painting and stuff and give me some feedback on it. And I think what they're expecting me to tell them is like, hey, good job. This is really cool. Fantastic work. Keep doing what you're doing. But it's like, no, you asked for criticism. I'm going to tell you what I think could be better. And I try to always hit them with like 2 positive things first. This is what I love about this, 2 things, but here's the one thing that I think you can improve upon. But even when you're nice about it, they will get so salty and so mad at you about it. And I'm like, you asked me like for the criticism. I don't know what you want from me. Like, and then don't get me wrong, you don't have to fix it. That was just my opinion of it, but yeah, I don't know. That's something. I love criticism. Please critique my work. Tell me what you think is wrong. That way I can either improve upon it and fix it, make it better, or I can look at it and be like, no, your opinion's whack. Like, you know what I mean? But at least make me aware of something that, you know, maybe I'm lacking somewhere, my blind spot, because we all got them, you know, we all got blind spots. But being open to criticism and stuff too, huge thing in the creative game, or just really any progressive game in general, whether that's working out or starting a business. You got to be able to take criticism. You know, most people are trying to kind of help you, even though they might be rude about it or harsh about it. It is something that's going to make you better if you fix it, you know? So yeah, that's just my thoughts with criticisms and judgments, you know? I don't really get too hurt by that stuff, you know, anymore, at least.
Well, it's almost, it's so rare that somebody will do something once or try something once, and that's going to be their passion for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I was talking to this entrepreneur. I haven't posted that video yet, but I actually used to work for him. I work in IT. I don't know if I told you, but he owned the company that I was a part of. It's been a while, like 6 years ago. But anyways, like we were walking through his life, and this dude did like everything under the sun. Like he was a firefighter at a point. He tried to do photography at a point. He was part of the police force for like 10 years. And then eventually, after trying all these things in a span of like 15 years, he discovered not only was he good at IT and technology, but he could also make a living out of it. And for a really long time, he did both the police work and he did the technology until he was able to move on to that. But like what I really learned from that conversation is that, man, like, you know, it seems like a long time that we're on this earth, but it really isn't, you know, and you should really enjoy this journey. I mean, try out things, you know, figure out, the fun is going to be in the journey, not where you end up. Life is so short. At the end of the day, why not explore all these different things? What? Because somebody's going to judge you and say that, you know, you're trying too many things or that you're not decisive. Well, I mean, at least you tried and you know the stuff that you don't like from it. What does the person that has done one thing for 30 years have to say?
Yeah, exactly. No, I will totally agree with you. I'm all about that. Yeah, try new things. I'll try anything once is what I kind of say, you know, within reason. But like, that whole thing of trying things. Yep, exactly. You just do it, you know. Nike said it best, or Shia LaBeouf said it best. Just do it, you know. Exactly. Like, why do you care? You're not a professional. So if someone judges it, that's fine. You know what I mean? It's like, it's whatever. And to be honest, no one's even going to carry your first projects of anything. So don't take that weight off your shoulders. Nobody's waiting for your album. Nobody's waiting to see your painting or your photos or hear your business idea. But if you do develop it in your own time and it does turn into something and they do notice it, boom, now you're on. Now you're doing something, you know. But yeah, it's just that, yeah, not being afraid to branch out of your bubble and not being afraid to like suck at something for a little bit, you know. It's a weird thing. But yeah, my first paintings were terrible. Like, they're so bad, they're just nothing, like there's nothing to them at all. But eventually, after a few months, you know, got to look like something cool. But again, you didn't see the 15 paintings I made before that. You only see the ones behind me now. You know what I mean? That's all anyone really cares about, you know. Every single one of it, like your favorite artists, your favorite entrepreneurs. The one thing I hear from every kind of successful person is that they failed. They failed more than they won. An event, you just see them winning now because they finally won, you know, but they had to lose 100,000 times before that to even learn, like, to criticize and learn what they needed to improve upon or what they need to adjust and things like that. You know, that's what learning is, you know. No losses, only lessons, you know. That's what you got to look at it like. And so, you know, but don't get me wrong, it's tough. It's tough when you do put effort into something and think it's good, and then you put it out and it flops. And you're like, oh, I thought I was cool. I thought I put the effort in. I thought I did what I needed to. But again, you got to take that opportunity. What was lacking? What didn't the people like about it? What was missing in there in the equation or the formula? And maybe I can do it next time again, you know. But then you got to pick yourself up and go do it again, you know, which is annoying. I get it. I know it is. You get burnt out, but I guess that's the process, you know. Got to love the process of what you're doing. That's half the battle, you know. I love painting, so if I make a crappy painting, well, okay. You know, I like painting though, so it's okay. I didn't waste that time. I just didn't make any money off of it, you know, type of a deal.
When you're looking at your thought process behind making a painting, how much do you factor in your fan base?
Like my family and stuff, you said?
Oh, sorry, fan base, like the people that
Oh, my fan base.
yeah, the people that like a certain type of your work. How much of your thought process and decision on what you're gonna do they take up in your process?
Well, I mean, with music, it was a lot, but with artistry or painting, it really only started about a couple months ago that I really started considering what the people were wanting a ton, just based off of like what I saw were my more popular posts than others. And
So
so I
you were
looked at the
dictating.
characters and I noticed that my anime characters, for some reason, get way more love than, than any of the other like basic cartoon characters. So I'm like, okay, like I like anime. It's not my most favorite thing, but I'd still watch it for sure. And I'm just like, okay, so maybe I need to lean more into this lane because maybe my style and the way it looks and portrays works together well, like that. So I do consider that a lot, and like what do people want? I also consider too, like what kind of, TV shows are popular right now. I made a Baby Yoda right around the season finale of Mandalorian because, it's kind of a popular thing at the moment. And also I love
That's the painting that I
Mandalorian. So
saw.
yeah, exactly. I was like, it kind of just
That's
makes sense, and also that one got one of my most popular ones because it just, like I said, a hot topic at the moment. So I do try to like do, that business side again of like, okay, what's gonna, I have ideas that I want to do, but again, what of those ideas, what do I think will be the most popular or the most successful? That's definitely a contributing factor for sure. And again, it's just, what am I interested in? What do I see as kind of a popular thing around me at the moment? Cool, I'm going to do that. I'll do that idea. But yeah, but not all the time though. But most of the time I am considering what other people
yeah.
would like to see,
So you went so you were a dictator before, and now you're taking the people into account.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I used to be like, nah, you guys don't know nothing. I'm going to paint whatever. But nowadays it's like, okay, sure. I mean, I am doing it for the people, so might as well give them a little something of what they want, and I like it too, as long as we cross, there's a middle ground there, but yeah, but it's not like I'm just going to straight, just go on the trending list of like, what's trending in the next week here. Oh yeah, what's out right now? Wonder Woman's out. I'm gonna make a Wonder Woman painting. Granted that would be a cool idea too. But you know what I mean. Just it's not like I'm literally doing that, but kind of in a way too. Being aware of your audience. Is definitely a major thing.
Right.
I feel like just for again any kind of business entrepreneur, you got to be aware of like what people are responding to. What is working. Don't keep doing the thing that you like that no one else seems to like, it's, I don't know, but it's tough because there is that element. You got to be like, I'm something different and unique. And it's going to take a minute for people to acquire that taste a little bit there. But I don't know, you got to find that middle ground again. Like I was saying, that blend of like, this is me and this is them. All right, let's find that somewhere in the middle there where we're both happy, but again, it's all these abstract ideas, all these things that, I guess just, yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I don't know really how I do decide on my paintings half the time, but I guess it is just really, like I said, I usually see something and I'm like, yep, that's it. It's popular. It's cool. I like it. They like it. Let's do it. Type of a deal.
It's almost like a balancing act, right? Because you
Yeah.
gotta enjoy the process as well.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, as we're wrapping up here, I did want to ask you, do you have any horror stories to share? Maybe something that you ran into when you
Yeah.
were starting on
Well,
the journey, or
I guess, okay, one of the biggest horror stories of my whole career life was my last reason why I haven't made music in probably, dang it, yeah, when was my last song? Over a year ago. Sorry, I keep going back to music. That was just my main thing for a while there. But yeah, I literally had like almost my whole album done, and I wrote it, produced it, engineered it all myself. And it was like 6 of the 10 songs were done. And I was like, okay, I'm finishing up. Let's get this done. And my laptop crashed and I lost all of my album. And like, that's for anyone who makes music to know that the production, the engineering, and the lyrics were all gone. Like, oh, it was months and months and months of work just deleted, and I had a few things backed up here and there and a song there, some vocals here, but it was like, I'm going to have to recreate this entire album from scratch again. Like, no way, so that was kind of one of the reasons why I switched into like painting for a second here, because I had to just get away from all that because I was so like, that was like losing a part of my soul, and I put so much effort into it. And I finally felt like I was like good, I'm like, people are going to like this one, and so that was probably the biggest horror story. But don't get me wrong, like almost every painting I make, since I do like splatter painting and things of that nature, and it's very uncontrolled, there are moments where I will like splatter something and it will just go completely the wrong direction. And it doesn't necessarily ruin the painting, but it's like, that was not at all what I was intending for. Oh my God, like, I don't even know if this is going to work anymore. But even more recently, I'm working right now. And I just like, when I was doing the measurements, I miscalculated by like just a half inch on the picture I was looking at, which correlated to my bigger image being shifted over like 2 inches. But now it's completely off-centered, and it's like obviously off-centered, and I already did the whole drawing and everything, and it wasn't until I was done with it that I was like, oh my God, like, how did I do this? How did I make this whole painting and it's off-centered? And I'm just like, oh, this is terrible. But I think there's a way to fix it, possibly by just doing some visual trickery. But right now I'm looking at it and I'm just like, am I just going to have to like toss this painting? Because it's just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks good. But when you're looking at it, you're like, I wish it was just a little, over here, to lean a little bit. And so, yeah, that's definitely something that just happened recently. But by far the biggest conundrum was just the good old laptop crashes, and you lose all your memory. And I was so, yeah, I swear I had my best song on there and it's just gone now. And it's just like, I can recreate it. I could, but just that magic, that magic you created that one time, to just go do it again, getting that same mind state, getting that same emotional feeling I had when I made the song. It's just like, maybe later, or maybe it's a sign I just need to do something else. That's kind of what I took it as. It's like, I was like, I'm going to take this time to just take a break and go do something else. And that's when I started painting. And actually, maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's why my computer crashed, was because it was telling me, you need to go this lane. You need to go this way. But yeah, no, it's, that was very devastating. But yeah, for the most part though, yeah, no, art is just, I feel like half of it is feeling like you ruined it and then realizing, no, it's just kind of my style. It's a little bit of my touch, my uniqueness. I've just been staring at this canvas for too long and I see all the little mistakes and things. But don't get me wrong, I've definitely had paintings that get ripped, or I spilt a drink on them or something, or, stuff of that nature. And it's just like, oh gosh, I spilt a freaking, whole energy drink on one of my paintings one time when I was like almost done with it. And I just knocked over the drink next to it. And I was just like, I gotta, it's just ruined now, guess I'm doing something else, but yeah, but we're still here. We live to fight another day. You got to grit your teeth and cry for a little bit, but then you get back on that horse, man. And again, that's that thing of consistency. Just keep doing it. You're going to fail, high peaks and valleys. There's going to be great times. There's going to be crappy times, but as long as you're kind of hitting that middle ground more often than not, you're feeling consistently on that uprise scale or that incline, heading towards that tipping point before you get launched into your fame and your stardom and your money and all that stuff. But, the only way to get there is to keep getting there. The way I always say it too is the only way to score is to keep shooting shots. It doesn't matter if you keep missing, you got to keep shooting shots. Otherwise, you're never going to score. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things, but hey, it is what it is. All part of the grind, right? Builds character.
What's that saying? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess it's just a reinterpretation of that there. But yes, exactly. You miss 100% of shots you don't take. Yep. Got to keep shooting, man. That's what any Kobe or any of them would tell you. Keep shooting. Keep shooting. But yeah. That's
right, man. I mean, I think that I have just one last question for you, and sure. I don't know. It may be tough. It might be easy. You may already have learned so much that it'll come quick to you. But if there's one thing that you've learned out of your entire process with the sports, with the music, and with the art, that you feel like people that are either trying to get into something more creative or trying to start any endeavor, whether it is starting their own business or something else. What's the one thing, what's the most important thing that you can think of that you've learned from this entire journey up until this point that people should keep in mind or that they should know?
Yeah, for sure. Ooh, that is a good one. I mean, I kind of got two things, I guess. First thing is like, why are you doing this? Are you doing it because you think it's cool or you think you can make money or something off of it? If that's the reason you're going into something, trust me, you're not going to like it, because of my number 2 rule is you got to love the process. And I know that's like one of the most cliche things ever, but it's like I said kind of earlier, is that like, even if I mess up a painting, I still enjoyed making the painting. And so it doesn't, to me, it's not like I really lost anything. It was just, that could have been better, you know, where a lot of people I know, like, I mean, I have felt like failure before a few times where it's like, God, why am I even doing this? This sucks. I can't do any of this. So man, it's just like, you got to have the right why. Like, I'm doing this because I enjoy it. And because again, you know, I feel like I'm progressing at it. And then the second part is because that process is working and I like the process. I like the act of creating this thing, whether that's, you know, sports. I like going to practice. I like throwing the football. I like shooting hoops, whatever your thing is, or you're a dancer, or you're a business person, podcaster type deal. I like talking to people. You got to like that thing you're doing, and that will create that value. Where if you're just going into something because you think it has value, like everything doesn't work the way you think it does, you know, whether that's music or business, it doesn't work the way you think it does. And it's a lot harder and a lot more tedious. So you got to really love what it is, you know, and that's kind of my thing. Again, cliche as heck, but it's because it's true. You know, I just love putting paint on canvas and getting my hands dirty. So whether I make money doing it or I don't, I enjoyed the time that I spent doing it. So that's the main thing, you know, just, you know, loving what you do, you know, what's your why, you know, it's simple as that, you know.
No, that's awesome, man. I think that those are wise words. I think that knowing your why is what's going to carry you through the tough times. You know what I mean? Like knowing your why is what's going to get you through the mistakes that you make in whatever it is that you're doing in life. Because if you don't have that strong why and you're doing it just for somebody else, then believe me, you're gonna quit fairly quickly, you know?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, man, I mean, this was awesome. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. It was awesome to hear your experience and, you know, how you do what you do, man. I think it's very cool. And I appreciate you taking the time for sure.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Again, I appreciate you reaching out. I love your channel. I was digging all the videos I was seeing on there. Super talented. Keep doing what you're doing for sure. And like, this is the future, man. People conversating, spreading knowledge, networking, and just sharing the love. You know, that's how we're all going to, you know, break out of that, you know, whatever you want to call it, the work life or things like that. Just make your dreams come true is by just interacting with other people who are doing what they like doing and enjoying their lives. So, you know, again, I appreciate you. This is awesome. And I hope we keep, you know, do some more work in the future or something, but hey, you know, keep doing what you're doing. I'll do what I'm doing, man. And
we
see you at the top, you know.
We got to touch base 6 months from now.
Exactly. Yes.
How you doing with your business?
Exactly, man. No, definitely. I'll tell you how it's going. I'm a millionaire now. No, I'm just
exactly.
We'll see. We'll see though. But anyways, I appreciate you though, man.
No, man, you too. Thanks, man.
Awesome.